welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I am Mark Storrs. With me, as always, is
Grass
and
Rob Morphy.
Special returning guest. What is your name?
Peyton.
Oh shit,
Woo!
Peyton's back.
The
What
baby.
up, Peyton? Thank
Nothing
you so much. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say that all the social posts they have indicated Peyton a fan favorite.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I thank you. I am terrible with constructive criticism.
Well, there's been no constructive criticism.
Right?
Everyone,
At least
You know
you're
it's all
open
legit.
right out the gate. It's funny.
If there is, don't show me.
you actually there's an episode that we just put up on our Patreon, the Changeling,
Yes.
and you were very well received.
Thank you.
There was a
Absolutely.
lot of awesome comments about your contributions to that podcast. Were
That was a
were
fun one.
appreciated by all of our listeners.
Yeah,
so,
there wasn't even an ounce of inebriation in that pod.
no,
Except total.
it did not fall apart on a
Oh
Patreon
my God.
level.
Yeah, when I finally reheard it after, we recorded it a very long time ago, I was like, yeah, there it is.
There it is.
That's the
But
Patreon.
Pepe, you were brilliant.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Mentioning Patreon, patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 will get you a shout out. $5 will get you a shout out and some bonus audio, which is generally released twice a month.
Yeah, actually, the backlog is building up, too.
Yeah.
So
Yep,
if
so
you
check
drop
that
your
out.
$5 now, you're going to have a pile of pods to listen to.
We have some shout outs to do this week. We have Gabe Loken,
Thank you, Gabe.
Senpai,
Nice.
Michael Nix,
Word up.
Donna Susie.
Donna.
She sent us the pronunciation. She said it was like soup. So I said Susie.
So not Southsea.
Not Southsea.
As I would have pronounced it based on
Exactly.
reading it. Nice.
Exactly. And
Good
then,
move.
An apology ahead of time because we can't say last names.
We really worked hard, all of us,
We
trying
really
to
did.
figure
We were
this
trying
out.
to like. Do we have friends that have names?
We have a lot of Eastern European friends that
We have friends that have names.
similar, alphabetic structures. So this is the best determination we could come up with.
David Bachowski
That's what or Bachowski
or Bachowski.
or any. No, if we get it wrong, you let us know, and guess what? Second shout out on the house.
And you can send me a message on Patreon, and actually you can phonetically spell it out because I'm dumb.
I would even
So,
highly recommend people doing that in the future.
yeah.
Unless, of course, you enjoy our mispronunciations and you want the double shout, in which case, leave us befuddled.
But Donna did that for us. She literally signed up for Patreon and sent us a message. This is how you pronounce my name. I was like, oh, thank you, Donna.
Bless her heart.
You are the best. This is a non-Patreon shout-out. This is going to our YouTube because we don't... Unfortunately, the YouTube stuff, we're not really there a lot talking, but we see the comments and everything. So this is a long overdue shout-out to our buddy who buys all the T-shirts, B-Dang.
Indubitably.
Which I believe the first message was Megalodon.
That is the coolest
AKA
fucking thing ever.
B-Dang.
Oh my God.
So thank you, B-Dang, for
Release
hanging
your
out.
rap album immediately. I will buy it on that name alone.
Yes, totally. Hellerspace.com, speaking of T-shirts, get yourself some T-shirts, some hoodies, some totes, some magnets, some pins, all kinds of fun stuff over there. There are sales every month, so check the socials for that. We got a bunch of new designs we put up, and Rob's working on another new design.
Yes,
right
another
now,
couple,
which
actually.
is kind of cool. So
We'll give it a little time. We're going to let these ones settle in, but
Yeah.
we'll put them out, and they're going to be dope as a pope on a rope.
But they are always there. They're always for sale. So check all that out. I believe that is it for the opening. We're just blown through this opening. Look at that, man. All right. This week, this is a fun one. We've talked about this a couple times off pod. We were pretty stoked to do it. We're actually waiting to do it until Peyton was able to get here.
Absolutely.
Hello.
So this is going to be kind of dope. This is Ouija Riot 79, the Miami Aerospace Academy incident.
Yes, it is.
Sounds like an awesome punk rock record.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
Ouija Riot 79?
Yeah,
Oh,
totally,
absolutely.
totally.
It would be a flyer I would make instantly.
So let's get started with just before Halloween in the late 1970s, the entire student body of an elite military school in Florida revolted after claiming to be attacked by multiple demonic forces. It would be an event that would leave many injured, more confused, and almost all scarred for life, in which the Miami News would memorialize under the incredible headline, Ouija Riot Baffles Police.
Like in my top 10 of real headlines ever.
Ouija Riot, yeah.
Ouija Riot. It's the fucking best.
And it baffles the police.
So first I want to give some credit to Jeff Maish. A lot of the information I got for this article came from this really extraordinary article he wrote called Hysteria High, How Demons Destroyed a Florida School, a True Story of Witchcraft, Possession, and Murder, which came out on medium.com on October 29th, 2019. So full credit. go read that article when you're done with this pod, and you'll glean maybe even a little more information and find out whatever you want if it intrigues you, and it should, because this is fucking fascinating.
Awesome. All right, let's get it started.
There are places where one might expect to encounter a rash of demonic possessions, paranormal assaults, or large-scale satanic panic to occur. Derelict graveyards, archaic monasteries, deserted insane asylums, medieval convents suddenly closed down following rampant reports of sexual promiscuity and wholesale devil worship. These might all make the cut. But by and large, among the last places one might consider to be an abode for unrepentant evil is your average, ordinary educational institution. Yet despite all logic to the contrary, the one place in the modern world where diabolical agents appear most at home is the one place children least like to be: school. Across the globe, from Malaysia to the United Kingdom, from Sri Lanka to Peru, school kids have fallen prey to what psychologists have quickly diagnosed as a unique and supernaturally stimulated form of mania, but which many locals believe is an altogether more insidious adversary, the infernal horde of Hades itself.
We're not talking hell or space. We're just talking hell and hell.
Hell and hell. Or hell or mental health. That's basically the
All right.
more encapsulated.
all
A
right.
little bit of both.
That's not as catchy.
No, it's not, and it probably won't.
And it's
make
kind of
as-
sad.
Yeah, no, then it becomes sad. But it is the
It's-
reality of it.
It's a bummer.
All right, hell or hell. Is that
Thank
better?
you.
Yeah,
You're
let's
welcome.
Yeah. let's
Just honestly, that lost puppy dog look you gave me broke my heart so much. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'm not even going to tell the truth anymore. Hell or hell. Those are the only options. Hell, more hell, hell squared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other
All right.
hell.
Hellington Heights, which is a really nice neighborhood
In
up in the west
Nebraska.
side
Right.
of hell.
Yeah.
No, that's
Oh.
Effington Heights, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, I'm going to digress for a second here. When I really did my best, when Peyton was young and her brother Hunter, and I used to babysit him, I tried not to swear. So there would be words like fudge nickel.
Yeah.
Or when I dropped something on my toe, Effington Heights, Nebraska. I
There you
did my
go.
best not to swear.
Which I thought was a real town for a long time.
Yeah, that's
Why-
okay.
yeah, why would you think
You were a
otherwise?
child.
Yeah.
But I really did my best. Clearly, the leash is off now.
All right. Well, there it is.
So,
Unleashed.
hell or hell.
Uncle Rob Morphy.
Mental health experts claim that these outbreaks were due to the simple fact that children in general, and young girls in particular, were prone to be susceptible to mass psychogenic illness, or as it is more commonly known, mass hysteria. Bouts of mass psychogenic illness have been reported since the Middle Ages and have included everything from a group of French nuns who inexplicably began to meow like cats for a specific period every day until the local constabulary came in and said, "We will whip you to death if you don't stop."
Cut the shit.
Okay,
Yeah.
first of all, best nuns ever.
Yeah.
Second of all, worst police ever.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm sorry, constabularies.
Why? What caused this constant meowing?
Well, that is another one of those great questions. Nobody knows. One nun started meowing, then another, then the whole gaggle of nuns. I don't know, what's it called? What's a group of nuns
A
called?
group
I
of
don't
sexless
know.
penguins.
Yes, the
Yeah.
whole
It's just
celibate
a group
penguin
of.
grouping.
I mean, they
yeah.
live in a convent.
Yes. The whole conventry of nuns started meowing, and then they started doing it in chorus every day until the neighbors were like, the
Oh, it's
fuck?
just a choir of meowing.
Yes. And that's how they talked to each other. I mean, they were full-on fucking cats.
Okay.
And then the cops showed up and gave the ultimatum, and then they cut that shit the fuck out.
Well,
That
that
ended the epidemic.
might be the power of law or the abuse of power.
That,
Indeed.
yeah.
There it is.
I feel
can't
like if
just
they just
stop
said
a
it was
woman
for
from
religious
meowing.
reasons, then they couldn't stop them.
Yeah, but I don't think like the archbishop would probably be down with the meowing nuns. Like, I don't think that like put a good face on the church.
Probably
I think maybe the
I think it would
But
put a
there's
better
no
face
law
in the
against
church.
meowing. You can't just send the
Back
cops.
then there was.
in the Middle Ages.
Yeah, there was a lot of laws.
There were laws about every dumb thing.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Turning left
I
when you
love
felt like it.
witchcraft.
Yeah.
And meowing.
Not making
all
a
do.
pie when a man told you to make a pie.
Oh,
exactly.
That's a whipping.
Yeah.
Surely
Your
that's
head
a
was
whipping.
gone.
That's
Your
a
head was
beheading.
off.
Yeah.
But yes, as a transitioning cat man and as a girl that spent most of her childhood meowing,
My entire 5th grade.
I
Same.
think you can identify with these nuns' plights.
That's why I'm getting so defensive.
I understand.
There it is.
But I'm saying that is one of the great cases. Another one, which has always intrigued me, is the dancing plague of 1518, wherein scores of people began spasmodically dancing before passing out from sheer exhaustion, only to wake up and immediately begin to boogie again. This episode lasted for up to a month, resulting in several deaths due to stroke, heart attack, and fatigue.
I don't want to laugh at death, but that's kind of hilarious.
It also
Yeah, what the
resulted
fuck?
in the banishment of all dancing from the region.
And resulted in
Ergo.
Footloose.
This is
Yeah.
Footloose, yeah, dude.
It must have
Okay.
inspired that movie.
Did
Oh, clearly.
Did Kevin Bacon show up and just fucking dance his little ass
That would have
off?
been a better movie if the reason why was like, well,
The demons.
The dancing plague
You know-
is
we,
struck.
we lost 300 villagers.
Death by dancing.
like,
If that Indiana
like,
town
yeah,
or wherever
yeah.
it was,
Villagers.
27 of our most beloved citizens
What are they
died
really
last
dancing
October.
to?
I'll
Like-
never
like-
forget that night.
Like old-timey Viking music, like Game of Thrones
Here's
music.
the funny thing. Obviously, I did research on all sorts of stuff for this. At first, the local intelligentsia said they'll work it out themselves. Like people were dying from exhaustion and everything else. They're like, let's just encourage them to just dance it off. So they built them a platform in the town square, and they hired musicians to accompany them, which only fucking resulted in more people catching the goddamn psychogenic plague.
That's weird.
And so more people were dancing and dying, and then all dancing was made illegal.
So
they're
dancing
like-
was the cure?
They thought dancing was the cure
For what?
for dancing.
Dancing. Yeah. They're like, you're dancing, like, they wanted to over dance you so you'd get it out.
She's
and
sick of it.
Think it was.
kind of like a parent not fighting with you anymore, so you know you don't have to ever clean your room. It's fine, and then it gets so stinky, you're like, "Oh, do it myself."
Yeah.
but it did not work. The reverse psychology did not
They were
work.
technically an accessory to murder.
yeah,
Really?
But then again, so was everybody in charge of anything back then.
True.
Death by dancing.
Two of the more renowned cases of mass hysteria. But as fascinating a subject as mass hysteria may be, what we're going to focus on here is a very specific and truly terrifying phenomenon that deals with a large group of students who are either A, all inexplicably and simultaneously suffering from the same mass delusion, which makes some act as if possessed and causes others to flee in horror from maleficent monsters and sinister specters, often resulting in severe injury, evil entities that only they and their peers can see, or B, a large group of students who are experiencing a genuine paranormal phenomenon wherein they are actually being chased, attacked, and sometimes possessed by demons, ghosts, regional deities, or even the devil himself. An occurrence that is ostensibly untethered to the physical world, yet very much a part of their experiential reality. An authentic encounter that is both undeniably ethereal and jarringly real, and often leaves its victims haunted for life.
That's heavy.
So it's one of the two.
Well,
Well, there you go. One
I
of
mean-
the two.
Probably the devil.
But fundamentally, what we're dealing with is either a really bizarre and rare psychogenic plague or something paranormal. Like I
Right.
say, maybe there's some crossover, but that's basically what we're dealing with.
Word.
While the decades-long crisis of seemingly demonic incursions in Malaysian schools and a recent attack on a Peruvian girls' school by an insidious man in black, not Johnny Cash,
All right.
are both riveting and distressing and will both be dealt with in their own episodes. I assure you we're not going to ignore those. They're fascinating, but they're just so big, we're going to break them down on their own merits.
All right.
What we are going to concentrate our attention on here is a specific event that occurred in the United States in 1979. Nestled in Miami's Little Havana neighborhood, the Miami Aerospace Academy was run by and catered to by the Cuban exiles and numerous Central and South American immigrants who populated the area. The campus encompassed a 2-story classroom building, 3 dormitories, an office building, a football field, and an Olympic-sized pool. Fancy pants. But its most striking accoutrement was the decommissioned U.S. Air Force F-84 fighter jet, which used to screech over the skies of Korea, but which was now perched atop the school's entrance like a gaudy hood ornament.
That's the best school
yeah.
ornament ever.
I gotta say,
I
if I
want a
walked
jet.
into school and every day it was an F-18 sitting there, I'd be like,
It's a dope shit.
There, locally to us, in I believe it's Union Springs, there was a tank in front of the school.
oh yeah.
Which is now behind the VFW next to the Dunkin' Donuts that I go to.
Right on.
I'm not saying I got drunk one night at my old house. I may have gone down there and rode the tank.
The tank's been there forever.
Everybody rides a
Yeah.
tank.
Everyone rides the tank.
You would play on a tank, right, baby?
Absolutely.
It is irresistible to all children.
I was well into my 30s.
It is irresistible
I would do it
to
tomorrow.
everyone all the time. Yeah, oh my God, climbing the treads.
yeah.
All right, so I'm not going to lie. One time
Tank.
I went out there with a buddy of mine, and this was in middle school, and we brought a toolkit, and we were trying to break in from the bottom, and that was a fool's errand.
From the bottom?
I don't know what we were going to do once it happened. Like,
Drive
say
it.
yeah, but then to what end? I
Tank
don't know.
people.
Yeah, you got to tank things.
Launch
Yeah.
missiles.
Just run stuff over.
Find crap you hate and tank it.
Exactly.
Robert. For the second time,
Very good.
Continue.
So, this plane also, this really has nothing to do with the story, but I'm telling it aside, had scorched windows, and it had obviously been used in active, war situations. So a rumor spread around the school that the pilot had died in there and that they hadn't removed the skeleton.
Oh,
all
poor Ars,
childhood foolacity. That's a word. But
Skeleton.
still.
Skeleton in
That
the
would
cockpit.
scare any
Skeleton in the
child.
cockpit.
Demon in the closet.
So that just sets the tone.
All right, cool. This
Absolutely.
fucking school sounds awesome.
I know.
Fucking tank with Eddie in it, just hanging out.
Fuck.
It's exactly what I'd see too. Like Ace of Spades, Eddie, even if it's in the tank, it's always any militaristic situation, it's got to be Ace of Spades.
Ace is high.
Oh, shit.
It's just
I'm
that's funny.
confused.
I wasn't going to correct him.
I
No,
wasn't
no,
either, but I'm like, people are going to be like, what the hell's the Ace of Spades,
Motorhead
Eddie?
and fucking,
Hey, the Queen of Hearts, Eddie.
yeah, it's true. I know. And from Alice in Wonderland, Queen of Hearts, Eddie. First off, that would be an awesome design. Queen of Hearts,
fuck
Eddie.
yeah.
Ace is high.
All right, I
Eddie
fucked up. Thank you,
aside.
Chris, for putting me on the correct path.
It was too funny.
The student body consisted of over 1,000 cadets who ranged in age from kindergarten to 12th grade, with boys outnumbering girls 3-1. The genders were housed in separate buildings, and the teachers, though in possession of no official military titles or ranks, were referred to as either majors or colonels.
Weird, but all right.
Okay.
The students' required uniform was a starched Air Force blue affair, but the cadets were also clad in camouflage fatigues and bulky helmets when they were forced to march across the yard in what was an effort to instill discipline into the raw youths. Boys attempting to grow their hair out were yanked from formation and sent directly to the school's on-site barbershop for a mandatory buzz cut.
Okay, I'm gonna
Mark.
take my statement back. Here's awesome. I'm gonna take my statement back and say worst school ever.
The curriculum offered traditional classes as well as reading enrichment and remedial math for those who needed the extra help. Students longing to embrace the militaristic patina exuded by the academy's decor were offered classes in military science, fencing, and judo. Girls, needless to say, were not allowed to participate and were offered home economics and cheerleading as non-academic options.
Bullshit.
Is that how you feel?
I'll-
That astounds me.
I'll
I thought
judo your ass.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ass to judo, in all
Yeah.
fairness. Your hand will get tired.
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying I support it. Girls in judo
Why?
all the way.
Why would I want to cheerlead over judo?
Also, boys should be able to home econom anytime they want.
Yeah.
And they should be able to cheerlead.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
someone's got to do
I mean,
that
we're
part.
all in agreement. Like,
Well, some do, right? Though.
A lot.
this is
Yeah.
also a different time and a different place.
Who else is
true.
going to
Oh,
throw
yeah,
the
it's
cheerleaders but the
frickin'
man
Florida.
cheerleaders?
Yeah, well, this didn't happen like yesterday, so times are different.
Right,
People
listen.
were not as evolved.
Yeah, it was, 41 years ago, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The greater part of the campus was fenced in by a towering barrier reminiscent of a prison wall, giving the impression that the Miami Aerospace Academy was an oppressive monument to, at least, manufactured militarism. Despite the harsh discipline and other mitigating factors, most cadets claimed to have enjoyed their time at the school. That was until the unthinkable happened.
Oh, the unthinkable.
On Thursday, October 25th, 1979, a bizarre and terrifying event seemingly spontaneously erupted within the halls and classrooms of the Marshall Academy. An incident that left so much physical and psychological trauma in its wake that it has been described by scholars as, and I quote, one of the most bizarre chapters in the history of American education.
That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. At 12:15 on the afternoon in question, biology teacher Patricia Murphy was escorting a group of 10th grade students to their next class when she heard a commotion coming from inside the girls' lavatory. Murphy had a tough time pushing in the door, which was being held shut by students on the other side, but when she finally made her way in, she found a 13-year-old girl sobbing uncontrollably.
Oh Jesus, this is
Yeah, I did
not
that in the
good.
bathroom all the time too at school.
No, I mean,
So-
a crying girl in the
So-
bathroom.
That's my whole.
you
That's my
worry
whole
about
What's the
the
big
life.
deal?
That's a student issue. You worry about them, but this is
All right.
just the harbinger of what's to come.
Okay.
All right, this is the Silver Surfer of the story.
Exactly.
There you go.
Galactus forthcoming.
All right.
Murphy sent for the school administrator to deal with the issue and escorted her students to their next classroom. And that's when things went from bad to worse. Suddenly, the calamitous sounds of, quote, girls crying and boys kicking, which is odd.
What does that sound like?
Ah, boom! Ah!
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, what do you mean?
It's just the
What does that
sound of
mean?
abuse.
And how do you know it's a boy kicking? Like, boy kicking? Like, I get you can hear tones in a cry or a sob.
Like thuds
Yeah.
that sound like a kicking, or like a kung fu kick
Yeah,
sound?
that's interesting. Is it like
Yeah.
an old Bruce Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah, there must have been a hi-ya or something in there.
Yeah.
It had to be a hi-ya. That's
Yeah.
how you know it's a boy.
Did someone throw a Hadouken? I was sitting here, Hadouken! You're like, oh shit, it's 20 years
I
too
hate when I
early.
hear boys kicking people.
I know.
It feels
the
like that
worst
could have
sound in the
been like a
world.
Tears for Fears song. Girls crying, boys kicking.
All right.
The sounds began to emanate from the corridor. Without warning, the 30 students in her charge raced for the door. This occurred just as another group of students were coming back from lunch. The chaotic circumstance sent ripples of panics through the teenagers. Murphy rushed through the door and was astounded to see 6 students, 4 girls and 2 boys, gyrating hysterically in the hallway, with the throng quickly gathering to watch the bizarre display. In a flash, her pupils began to spontaneously sob. A scream echoed in the distance. Not knowing what else to do, the teacher led her group away from the tumult to the second floor. Later, she reflected on what had happened, saying, I don't know what caused it. When the girl in the restroom got upset, it seemed to infect her friends. Joseph Wolf, a Colombian who studied at the academy from 1968 to 1976, had returned from his homeland to explore his old haunts in 1979. The school's owner, 48-year-old Evaristo Marina, a Cuban exile who had ostentatiously referred to himself as El General,
The General.
yes, indeed, greeted his former student warmly and explained to the burly 19-year-old that his campus was in need of a new disciplinary instructor. That's an odd class.
Yeah.
Offering Wolf the princely sum of $1,200 a month to take the job.
In 1979?
79?
That's a lot of fucking
Yeah,
cash,
it is.
dude.
That's mad ducats.
Oh, about 12.
Shit.
Fuck, dude. I would take that
Yeah,
job
it's
and just be
$300
like,
a week, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
fuck.
Initially reticent, he finally agreed to accept the position with the tacit understanding that he would not employ corporal punishment on the pupils, as he himself had been the victim of violence and had no intention of continuing the cycle on youngsters, even delinquent ones.
Take the
So
job
good
and take the job and just sell them weed.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Don't
Fuck it.
beat
Just
him.
be like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
beat him. Just be like, yo, I want to buy some weed.
Joe Wolf seemed kind of stand up.
Yeah, all right, cool. Good dude.
Excited by his future prospects and his incredible financial windfall, the young man wasted no time in going out and splurging a portion of his newfound fortune on a brand new Corvette. 79.
Oh, no.
You're 19 years
Got a
old.
sweet vat.
Gonna flip it.
Yeah,
You're a
dude.
member of the faculty. You're making
Fuck yeah.
ducats. This guy's on top of the motherfucking
Yeah,
world.
there's like young teachers and shit.
Joseph Wolf.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Your name is Joseph Wolf. You got a vat. You're making dough. It's the 70s.
It's just, it's the time of your life.
rolling in it.
Until.
Rolling.
All right, let's get back to the story. Just after noon on the day in question, Joseph Wolf was marching his own group of students across the academy's yard when he happened to look up at the main building and saw, to his shock, a student crashing through a second-floor window
Holy shit.
What?
and slamming onto the roof of a school bus many feet below.
Okay.
Gobsmacked, Wolf stared as the boy, who ought to have been crippled if not killed in the fall, shot to his feet completely unharmed. Wolf recalled what happened next. I saw this guy on top of the bus, so I jumped after this guy. I tried to hold him back. All of a sudden, boom, he turned his head like the Exorcist.
Oh, the weird backwards
What
head
the
thing.
hell?
Full 380,
Oh,
160, or
man.
360. I don't know numbers.
180.
180, 360.
Well, no, a 360 is a complete turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got there. I got there.
You got 380?
Dude.
It's like a complete turn and like a little bit of a tilt.
I am not a mathematician, all right?
Skateboarding. Remember, a 360, complete turn, 180, you're just switching your stance.
Thanks,
basically.
Papa Mark.
Remember skateboarding, guys.
To
720.
Wolf's horror, the boy's eyes suddenly, and I quote, turned red, bloodshot, no pupils.
Whoa.
Although it's how do you notice the bloodshot if the whole eye is red?
If it's Bloodshot, all of a sudden it's just red.
All right, that makes sense.
Like the comic character Bloodshot.
Oh, maybe, well,
Being played by Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Different discussion, different time.
different
I
thing, yeah.
can't even with that.
Although the older boy knew the student, he said that the thing that stood before him was not only not human, it was, and I quote, pure evil.
Oh, sweet.
Head spinning, full red eyes.
Yeah, fucking evil.
At this point, the jumper growled like a rabid dog, screeching, "Leave me alone," before lunging forward and grabbing the much larger wolf. The terrified instructor knew that he should easily be able to subdue this younger and much smaller boy, but found that this fiery-eyed fiend now possessed the strength of 10 men.
The power of the devil, dude.
Exactly,
He infects
10
you.
men.
And 10 men, the strength of...
That's Herculean.
Yeah, it's fucking pure evil.
Well, not if it's like 10
Well, I mean, if it's 10 really,
Weenses.
yeah, weak dudes, then it's still a pretty strong one dude, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of dude.
More dude than Joseph Wolf could handle.
All right.
Or Joseph Wolf.
What is Joseph going to do?
I'll tell you. With a rush of adrenaline, Wolf managed to break away from the malignant beast boy and could only helplessly stare as he dashed away. It was then that he heard more screams coming from within the school and watched as throngs of wailing kids broke windows and plowed through doors in an effort to escape the evil within. And this is what he saw. A little black girl was running up the street towards Miami High. I tried to run after her to bring her back inside. It was chaos. It was around this time that Miami dispatchers began receiving chilling calls about terrified children running through the neighborhood and a violent uprising occurring at the school. When police and firefighters arrived at the scene in Little Havana, they were shocked to see what appeared to be a full-fledged riot in progress. Hundreds of shrieking students were bolting from the building in a blind panic. One teenager had been rendered unconscious, still others were claiming to be, quote-unquote, possessed by spirits. When Lieutenant Dan LeMay of the Miami Fire Department arrived at the Miami Aerospace Academy, he was confronted by a spectacle unlike any he had ever witnessed or even imagined. A young boy charged through the window, landing in a mass of bruises and bloodied skin. He distinctly remembered that, and I quote, "Some kids said something supernatural had possessed the boy."
These kids are just like stage diving out of school.
Like just anyway,
They just see some
like,
spirits like, ow,
with this fucking
yeah,
you
exactly.
got to imagine like
Hardcore
the scariest,
show.
Yeah.
Exactly, it is. It's sort of like Rock and Roll High School meets The Exorcist.
No,
like,
this is
Yeah.
like when Judge came back a couple of years ago for like they were like we're Judge and we're back and this is a storm and everyone's just like and there was just punches and
Yeah, I mean-
Agent the Storm. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you always
Dun it,
daydream
dun it. Oh,
about
that's Stone
just
Cold.
jumping out the window during class,
Oh,
but like,
That's so cool, Steve Austin.
don't actually do it.
never actually do
Well, the
it.
entire school fucking revolted
But
because
I
they were
mean-
excited about Judge coming back.
They hear
That
boys
is
kicking.
not what happened in Miami in 1979.
It was the devil, Mark.
Yeah.
Or Judge.
Did you just take the devil off the table and replace it with
Wow.
Judge?
I thought it was hell or hell.
No, now it's Judge.
I believe
Hell or hardcore now, I guess.
I like that.
That's not bad.
I actually
that is better than hell or
hardcore.
mental illness.
Yeah, I know. Hell or tragic condition that we all have a lot of empathy for.
Hell-
Let's get these people help in
Yeah.
the financing they need to get it.
Hell or classic New York hardcore
Yeah,
was
Jesus
the
Christ.
original lineup
That's
of the
oddly
Cro-Mags.
specific,
Yeah.
but not bad.
All right.
It's not as catchy.
All right. So really, though, what we're dealing with is fucking all orifices
Mass
of the
hysteria.
school.
Everyone's freaking the
every
fuck out.
entrance, kids are barreling out of, jamming through, falling on top of each other. Some kids are attacking each other.
Gyrating.
Some kids are exactly
Like Rob
sobbing in a
showing.
pile. Exactly. Some are doing the curly shuffle. Others are fucking going full on demon boy.
Hopscotching, moonwalking.
And if you
before
can't get
Michael
through a
Jackson
fucking
did it.
door or an open window, you're just charging headlong through
Yeah.
a fucking window. So it's fucking on.
Doing the electric slide.
Just sounds
Yeah,
like
every
a
wedding
classic
dance
Auburn party.
possible.
Yeah, really. All right. So, all right.
In some
so
circles,
now
yeah.
where do we go from here, Rob?
Curly shuffle.
Absolutely. LeMay claimed that the panic spread like a domino effect. Confounded, Miami police officer Harry Cunnell concurred with LeMay, stating, "The whole school went berserk. Teachers and students were running around tearing up things." So it's not just the kids. Teachers are like,
The teachers?
"Fuck it, everyone's doing it. The lounge is shredded.
Fuck this.
Ashtrays
fuck that,
everywhere."
Fuck you.
Sounds
fuck
like the
you.
best day ever.
I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah, it's the
fun.
best worst.
They're just like, yeah, fuck
day
the
ever.
world.
Yeah.
Kids are smoking. They're just like, fuck you. I like cigarettes.
It's the demon in me.
Yeah. There you go.
Teachers are just
Maybe
ripping
Wolf
up their
did
plans.
sell the kids weed like you suggested.
Maybe emphysema. And there's fucking crushing butts. Yeah, it happened.
We should definitely be the ones in charge of doing the movie adaptation. Our ideas
Absolutely.
are all
Dude,
gold.
I can't. This can't be American though. This is Asian all the way.
If Lloyd,
yeah,
if
you're
Lloyd
right.
Kaufman directed this, to be amazing.
But remember,
mean,
this is a
Florida's just their own thing.
This is right in the sense that Florida is, God bless it, I even lived there for a brief time, the batshit craziest state in the union. And they should
You
wear
know,
that moniker with
I
pride.
get it, but look,
and this
man.
is also Little Havana, so this is like a small slice of South and Central and Caribbean American, or these separate nations in America, which doesn't mean it's on foreign soil, but it definitely gives it a different patina than, say,
No,
Middle
I know
America.
it's not. Yeah, Nebraska. But
So yes, in answer to what you said, if there was an adaptation, definitely a foreign director would probably be better, especially like you say a Japanese one who
This
would
just
just
screams,
go
yeah.
raw.
Lloyd Kaufman, continue.
Oh God bless, he could produce it.
Kaufman.
Okay. Authorities discovered smashed windows and doors torn from their hinges, all apparently the work of hysterical high schoolers, some of whom said that a Ouija board was to blame, while others, and this is important to all of us here, insisted that it was Bloody Mary conjured from a lavatory mirror.
How dare you? You know,
It's not me. This is a historical chronicle. I know it's a personal phobia.
You know
of yours,
how I
Peg.
am.
And honestly, we've all discussed it. None
won't
of us will do it.
Say Bloody Mary.
stop.
don't worry.
Okay, then stop.
But we're not looking at something reflective.
Stop. I don't give a shit. There's.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, what? I can kind of see
Stop.
myself in this glass.
Stop.
Bloody Mary.
Stop.
I'm picking on you, baby.
I'm just gonna stare deeply into your eyes and say Bloody.
You get away.
Yeah, that's
Mary.
I will never make eye contact with you
Oh,
again.
no, dude, Rob, gyrate.
you will.
Do something.
Watch your uncle gyrate, Bloody Mary.
All right. So it's brilliant that they kicked up what is, obviously
that's-
a pop culture trope, or whatever you want to call it, and something that we've all actually
You
encountered.
can't blame fucking Candyman for this.
And Candyman's fictional. Bloody Mary, for all we know, might be Lizzie
Oh
Borden.
yeah, no, she's
Well, she's not
much
married.
more fucking
Well,
rational.
we don't
than
know.
Candyman.
Candyman we know is fictional because Clive Barker created him, based on legends like The Hook and and Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary is probably a figment of someone's imagination, but we don't know that for a fact.
Okay,
Now we said it 17
Are you?
times.
Yeah. Are you finished saying it? Because I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind.
I'm
Okay.
done saying Bloody Mary. Robert.
Stop.
Still others contended that the devil himself had visited Miami Aerospace Academy in search of souls.
Cool.
So else. The panicked kids found themselves fleeing from the frying pan, only to find themselves thrust into the flames as they came face to face with a horde of reporters who had been swiftly dispatched to the scene to cover the anarchy that had upended that day's curriculum. Those not too terrified to speak told journalists that, and I'm sorry, Peyton, Bloody Mary was loose in the school, while others claimed that teachers had engaged in arcane rituals which may have released demons.
Sweet.
Arcane rituals.
Yeah, the teachers are doing some fucking sweet rituals and shit. and
So
the,
it's
the
their fault.
guest speaker, the devil, shows up on a Wednesday.
I know.
You get a fucking
it's like
full
we
day.
used to get Toma telling us about
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah, no, now you got the fucking
Oh,
devil.
God.
Yeah,
Speaking of
come to
Prince of
the
Darkness.
auditorium at 2. The devil will be visiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Career
Exactly. No.
opportunities, paths to take and
It
not
used
take.
to be that wrestler dude that would show up. He was like, I used to wrestle, then I did drugs. I don't do either of them anymore.
If
Now
you
I-
don't
now I talk to
gyrate,
you."
you're getting detention.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gyration mandatory.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mandatory
I
gyration.
guess that's going to be part of the cult now.
All right, there it is.
But only like on certain Tuesdays. Like constant gyration gets really annoying.
Your cult is in
Yeah,
the
I
constant
mean, I don't
gyration.
know.
We just become one of those dancers.
Yeah.
And we're
Plague
just gonna
dance.
die.
Yeah,
We're gonna
exactly.
plague dance and
no
die.
one's going to plague dance to death. Not on my watch, goddammit.
No, all right.
No
All right.
gyration on Tuesdays.
Okay, well, it's my watch,
You're
but Robert
kicked out of the
continue.
cult.
Fair enough. Wow, you're hard.
Thank you.
Wow.
Ilana Viciedo, the school's English teacher, was so upset that she quit her job that moment. She told reporters that there were girls screaming that there was a spirit inside of a Ouija board. One of Marina's employees, Celeste Coonan, swore that she heard some of the female students talking about, and I quote, witches.
Ah,
Oh.
cool.
Witches.
Witches.
Always,
I like
always the
witches.
scapegoat.
Well, yeah.
Always the gosh darn scapegoat.
Well, you got Bloody Mary and you got Ouija boards and witches and the devil showing
The
up
devil.
and teachers with arcane awesome school.
Ripping up
I-
papers.
I wish
Yeah.
I went to this middle
I
school. but
wish
didn't.
witches were at my school.
Well, it's actually a
Finally,
full-fledged-
someone
it's-
would get me.
It's K to 12, so it's a full
What?
on.
No, well, just join them.
I don't know how. I don't know any witches.
There's
Just
the
find a
fucking
way.
internet. You can find a witch.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's not like it was when we were kids.
We'll get you there. Don't worry.
All right,
All
yeah,
right.
we'll save that for after the pop. Wolf, having given up his chase on the terrified little girl, returned to the school and darted up the stairs to the classroom from where the red-eyed boy had leapt. So the classroom where the kid jumped out the window, slammed on the bus, turned into
Yep.
fucking The Exorcist, and growled away.
Yeah.
He went up into that room.
With the power of 10 men.
Yeah, well, yes.
Yes.
The boy.
Yeah.
Once inside, he found a teen couple from nearby Westchester standing near a Ouija board. Ding, ding, ding. Hard evidence. Hard
all
evidence.
right. Okay.
The scared duo asked Wolf for a ride home. He complied. At approximately 3 p.m.,
Okay.
well, it's important to mention that
All
they
right.
said ride home. He said yes, because this brings us to the next
In
part
the
of the
middle
story.
of chaos. Okay, cool.
Well, it's on, but if you still got to go home. And Wolf was fucking.
Yeah.
What more is he going to do?
He was done.
I think most of the kids at this point are probably out of the school.
Yeah. All right.
Because, I mean, all of this
They're
is
all
chaotic.
diving
and-
through windows and curly shuffling their way out of the school.
Exactly. Doing the worm
Or,
or
yeah,
the dolphin,
the-
depending
Yeah.
on your context.
All right.
So, at approximately 3 p.m., Wolf and his 2 passengers climbed into his sweet-ass Corvette,
Nice.
which was mentioned earlier, and sped away from the chaotic academy grounds. The threesome was convinced that the evil they had encountered was long behind them. They
Yeah,
couldn't
right.
have been
Can't escape the devil.
more wrong.
The devil is
Yeah, well, maybe you can.
my co-pilot.
I don't know.
Let's see how you can.
You can't.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
where are you going to go?
Church?
No.
Hallowed ground. Like if you watch The Car with James Brolin, the evil, satanic, and possessed vehicle
I feel like
can't
the
go
only
into
place the
hallowed
devil
ground.
can't get into Chuck
Yeah,
E.
there's
Cheese.
no real-
Chuck E. Cheese.
I cannot
Evidence
see
of
the
that.
devil going to Chuck E. Cheese. I just think that's a line he won't cross.
That's fair. Because
Wait,
Other
is Chuck
than
E.
that-
Cheese worse?
yeah,
Or
that's
is
what I
it-
think.
Is it
I think
another?
it's a darker, more profane
it's-
place
it's a
than even
different
the
I
devil
think
wants
the
to
devil
go.
is scared of Chuck E. Cheese because they reuse their pizza.
Also, they're fucking robots. Ugh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Chuck E. Cheese is the
He's
old
terrifying.
ones. It's got to be the old ones.
Oh, they're the Lovecraftian gods.
Yeah, the old ones are
Yeah.
always the
Yeah.
ones that they come up.
So if you ever are
And they
being
predate
chased by
the
the
devil.
devil, you know
So-
where to go.
Right. Well, yeah, Yahweh.
Chuck
Yeah.
E. Cheese.
All right.
That makes sense. Peyton, you opened all our eyes.
You
Thank
have.
you.
Thank you. We
Indeed.
appreciate
Oh, Cthulhu E. Cheese.
There might be poop in the ball pit.
Poop in the ball pit. Always an unchanged diaper in the ball pit.
Yeah.
it. And
Chuck E. Cheese.
And Cthulhu E. Cheese.
And of course, we want to thank our new sponsor, Chuck E. Cheese.
Dude,
Nope.
no, it's a nightmare.
Wolf interrogated the students regarding what they had been doing with the cardboard conduit to the other side. But the teens swore that they were only witnesses to the Ouija session and had not participated at all. When they arrived at the girl's house, she implored him to stay until her mother got home. He agreed. He accompanied the girl and her boyfriend into the house where they offered him a cold drink and discussed the day's events. Everything seemed perfectly normal until 8 o'clock that night, when, without warning, the house went completely dark. Assuming it was just a power failure, Wolf tried to calm his younger counterparts. That's when the sound of a door slamming shut echoed through the darkness. Suddenly, the TV began to flicker on and off. In alarm, the young boy admitted to Wolf that he had been playing with the Ouija board. This would prove to be the straw that shattered the disciplinarian's final nerve.
It was me, man, all along.
Yeah, so-
It was me.
You know what? I said I watched, but I did. I was watching. I was doing. Devil.
The kid's got no fucking spine. None whatsoever. He's like, I'm
fucking
talking about,
great.
man. Just fucking deny it to the end and be like, fuck you, dude. I wasn't playing with shit.
Yeah, I
And
know
then
what you're talking
fucking
about.
little power flux, and he's like, I
Yeah,
did it. I did
exactly.
it all.
Yeah,
I did everything. I said Bloody Mary
It
27
was me.
times.
It was me.
I said blink the lights, blink the lights.
His heart racing, Wolf abandoned his young charges and stumbled through the inky blackness of the house toward the front door. He fumbled with the lock, practically kicking down the door before bursting out into the yard and sprinting to his car. He shoved the key into the ignition, and in classic horror film fashion, the engine failed to start.
Of course.
According to Wolf, it was like the car didn't have a transmission. I'm putting the pedal to the metal, and the car wouldn't move. That's an actual quote.
Perfect.
The pedal to the metal.
That's what you do.
Yeah, with your sweet new vat.
What else would you do? You don't put like the pedal partial way to certain
Metal.
metals. No.
Halfway to metal.
Yeah. No one ever says that. Oh my God, that would be like the worst album ever. Halfway to metal. Hey, listen, we're safety first, guys. Halfway to metal.
Not quite there.
Wow. Finally, the Corvette's engine kicked over, and he sped away from the shadow-shrouded house and the terrified teens therein. He never saw them again and had no idea what had happened to them on that dreadful eve. Wolf refused to return to the evidently evil school from that moment on, calling in and quitting that night.
Wolf just said, fuck them kids.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Just leave those teenagers in the haunted house.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, in all fairness, he's still a teenager, too. He's only 19. But, I mean, if they're 15 and 14 and he's like the disciplinary instructor.
To be fair, they're
Yeah.
probably dead.
well, they're
you
probably
can't
not.
help him. You
Yeah,
can't.
Well,
You
you could've helped
can't.
him. You could have brought him out
can't.
to the vet.
No.
You saved the kids.
He
Fill the vet.
lied. I didn't do anything. I totally did it. Dude,
All right,
consequences.
then leave the boy, but
This
save
is
the
how you
girl.
learn.
It's not
This
her
is
fault.
how you learn.
By dying at the hands of
Yes.
demons? Yeah, it's true. You will learn. You will fucking learn.
Well, it's
You know
kind
what?
of late if you're already
You
dead.
get one
but-
chance.
yeah, I mean, you
That's
learn
it.
and then die.
There you go.
You learn, oh, I had to. Down.
Yeah,
dead.
exactly.
Okay. In 2019, Wolf described himself as a skeptic, but nevertheless strongly believes that something decidedly supernatural invaded the school in 1979, an event which changed the course of his life. Following the harrowing incidents at the institution, Wolf decided to enroll in the local police academy. Wolf, who eventually rose to the rank of undercover detective, seemed to be haunted by his loss of nerve that night back in '79 when he deserted the two students who had asked for his help. Later stating, I'd lost all control over myself and over the students. Part of me thinks, even though it's not elaborated on, that the guilt he felt about abandoning these kids is probably what made him go into law enforcement and want to protect and serve.
Oh,
and help
yeah,
others.
sure.
Yeah.
Because this interview was conducted decades later, and he clearly seemed like, I mean, I was out of control, everything was out of control, but I think that probably was one of those things that stuck with him, like, fuck. That's one of those ones where you're going to fucking be a hero or you're going to fucking get away in the vet. And I don't blame him. He was 19, he was terrified, and the kid did admit to using the goddamn Ouija board. But on the other hand, I understand his pain. So let's all give a little empathy to Yosef Wolf.
I'm sorry, Joseph.
It is kind of your fault, but it's not your fault. I'm
mean, you
I'm
know.
half Robin Williamsing him. And
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Goodwill
I
Hunting.
don't know, man. I think he did fine.
It's
If you
it's
need
only
someone to
sort of your
talk to,
fault.
we're here.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. We're here for you, Yosef.
We are.
Yeah.
And any other victim of this incident.
I don't know. That's big. That's a lot. You
No,
just opened
oh
a
no,
Pandora's
Peyton
box.
and Robert are here to talk to you.
I
No.
am. Okay, fine. I'm here.
There you go.
Email
Mark
me.
is going to be sitting around with a sprained knee for a while, and he's just looking for emails.
I'm not answering
From
email
victims.
anymore. It's over.
Wow.
My email.
Are you me?
My
Oh,
email
he gave up.
answering days are done.
Well, you guys have no hearts.
That's all right. Baby.
I am a certified crisis counselor.
Well, there
She
you
is.
go. Perfect.
We got it, baby.
There it is. Woo! All right.
We're going to start a hotline.
Now, where do we go from here?
The school's owner, Evaristo Marina, told the media that some students say it was demons who were responsible for the chaos that had laid waste to his school. Others, like Manny Ruiz, who was an academy student at the time, believed that it was Marina himself who had attracted the evil entities through his practice of black magic.
Oh, best headmaster ever.
Wow.
Some were convinced that Marin practiced Haitian voodoo. Others thought it was the more benign, yet still, according to the Catholic Church heretical, Santeria. Now, for those whose knowledge regarding Santeria extends no further than the lyrics of a Sublime song, here's the
Mine.
breakdown.
God damn it.
Santeria translates as saint. Santeria translates as saint worship. It is a spiritual sect which combines African and Roman Catholic teachings and uses blood and animal sacrifices to engage with spiritual entities, according to Ruiz. At one point, we thought Evaristo was a Santero, or was practicing Santeria. He would dress all in white, a hallmark of practitioners, and it was very prevalent in Miami at the time. George Navarini, a former student of Italian descent, claimed that he and his peers found some unusual artifacts on the school grounds, stating, on more than one occasion we found strange things, like a dead chicken with a red silk ribbon around its neck, tied in 3 knots. From my Cuban classmates, I learned that these were offerings to the Santeria gods.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I mean,
Navarini also said that among other chickens they found kilo pretos, blackened pennies used by those who practice Santeria to protect against the evil eye.
okay.
So around the campus
The evil
grounds,
eye.
you're seeing ritualistic Santeria sacrifices and whatnot. Another unnamed student admitted that not only was the school staff evidently obsessed with the occult, but the student body was as well, some of whom would participate in clandestine sessions of necromancy, stating, "I was at the famous seances. They were pretty eerie. I think it was more like hypnosis, but nevertheless weird." So, kind of a pragmatic kid.
What is necromancy?
Trying to communicate with the dead.
Or raising
Or
the
raise
dead,
the
yeah.
dead. Yes.
Stop being so smart.
It's kind of cool, actually. I mean, like, if this is a school that I went to, dope. Like, if
Yeah,
Casey,
is there
if this was Casey Park, I'd be like, fucking,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if you're
Another
little
Casey
and
Park
everyone's
alum,
just
yeah.
like who isn't casting and being weird in this school? Apparently, everyone is.
Yeah, it's
Teachers
true.
were,
But it
students
makes it
were.
kinda
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Does
there's
it-
Ouija boards.
Yeah.
Witchcraft.
Seances.
It is now.
Santeria practice.
Old you thinks it's cool now, but young you.
No, young you would be terrified.
If you just walk
Oh,
into a
man.
classroom, there's fucking pagan legs and fucking.
Pagan goat
Jimmy
leg.
goat legs. Pagan leg.
Pagan.
He's got
You
a
know what
terrible
I mean.
case of the pagan leg.
Got a
Fucking-
dragnet pagan
fucking
legs.
Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks with fucking goat legs.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
true.
fuck
Right.
yeah.
Drag-
Every
that-
classroom was a different
Level of hell.
occult
Sounds
thing
cool.
going
I know, there's
on.
Bloody Mary in the lavatory. There's fucking
So sacrifices
Satan in the
are
auditorium.
C,
Yeah, no.
section C.
No, you got to go down the hall to the left, third door.
Yeah.
I think
That's
you know what I think it comes down to? It builds character.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a strange stance.
And a great, solid resume.
Oh, solid. Yeah, no, definitely. You are utterly employable at that
Totally.
point from
Completely.
every perspective.
All right, so you know what? The school is cool and progressive.
Those of a more rational disposition theorized that Marina was just a power-thirsty megalomaniac who, albeit unintentionally, whipped his cadets into such a frenzied state by enacting extremely harsh disciplinary measures, as well as, disturbingly, utilizing invasive sound recording devices in the lavatories all over campus.
He was recording their farts?
He was trying to see if they were conspiring. He was running for office at the time. He used to fight with Fidel Castro when they were back at college in Cuba before he became an exile. He was a super martyr.
Okay,
He was,
can we?
and he was a Santeria practicer. He was
fighting
a
with
dude
Castro?
who had a biography worth recording.
Was
So
Che
how did
Guevara
someone put him in
involved?
charge of a
Probably.
school?
Yeah. Jesus.
He came to Miami, bought a soda pop company, made a butt ton of money, invested it in the school, convinced people that he was like he was like maybe in the National Air Force Guard or something like that. I don't know. He was in like some ancillary branch of government. Not to dismiss it, it's important, but he participated in that in a while. So he took the uniform, added epaulets and all sorts of shaggy things. So he
Oh my
looked
God!
like
Did he do a Hubbard?
yeah, exactly.
Did he
Did he
Hubbard
pull a
it?
fucking Hubbard?
He L. Ron Hubbard himself, and then he told people that he was about discipline. He put the plane on the building.
Oh my God, he
and
did.
He started charging people mad money
Wow.
to send their kids to his fucking school. In the meantime,
He was slap
it's an
fighting Che
occult
Guevara.
vortices of mayhem.
All right,
or he's driving them slowly crazy by recording their farts and
And then playing them
playing
later.
making them wear extra big helmets and jogging around.
Billy's farts.
Why does no one have?
5.
Mod, Jesus Christ.
Maybe it is like a weird like emotional abuse or not like a psychic emotional abuse where you're just fucking with these kids so hard they finally snap and they're like fuck you, we're dancing.
That is exactly
Or-
what
We're dancing.
Or
We're gonna moonwalk out the
he
third
used to
story
fight
window.
Fidel Castro. Fidel had a bunch of I almost said Ouija dolls. What are they called?
voodoo
Voodoo
dolls.
dolls?
Voodoo dolls
All right, could be.
on the students because he's like, yo, this dude was mean and
Yeah.
we fought, so I'm gonna mess with his school, Fidel style.
I didn't even consider that.
Fidel comes
Yeah.
back.
Of course, Fidel Castro is to blame.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, we
Oh,
put a lot on him.
Counterspell.
but
Really?
Put a lot on
Are you
him.
a Castro defender?
No, just saying.
Because he was kind of a douche, objectively.
Just saying.
I mean, it's not even me being jingoistic. Fidel Castro,
We can't get into this.
kind of a jerk.
This is a larger,
I'm
a
just
larger
saying.
political.
Peyton
comment.
can have her theories.
Okay, your theory is
It
great. I
was
think
Fidel.
I like it.
It
All
could
right.
be
But,
a counterspell. It's not a question.
In deference to what Mark was saying, we are going to deal with what academia thinks about this
Okay.
before we continue much further. These academics suggested that the pressure caused a massive sudden breakdown in the collective psyche of the student body, and that the symptoms of mass psychogenic illness manifested themselves as demonic projections due to the highly superstitious culture into which they were born. American sociologist Robert Bartholomew, who studied the effects of mass hysteria in Malaysian schools and wrote a book about mass psychogenic illness, agreed with this conclusion and blamed the regimes of these strict institutions, stating, "All work and no play fosters abnormal states of mind that reflect local beliefs in the existence of an array of supernatural creatures." Professor Christopher French of the University of London elaborated, "Demonic possession has certain benefits if used strategically." On his face, that's kind of... Let him finish.
All right.
But, you know,
I don't think I wanna.
It allows those with little power to indirectly protest about their lot in life and engage in behaviors which, under normal circumstances, would never be tolerated. So a form of self-abusive protest in a way, I guess. So that's Christopher French.
All right.
Okay.
Indian professor of clinical psychology Y.S. Vagrecha, who had studied demonic possessions, said that mass possessions often grip marginalized groups, and that the academy students in Miami were, at a subconscious level, revolting or protesting against the regime which oppressed them. So that's the scientific side.
Yeah.
You're crushed down, you're beat down.
We're going to call that the twisted sister, we're not going to take it theory.
We're going to add another little element to this.
Okay.
I expect Ping's going to love this.
You.
Bartholomew also claimed that, although he knew it was an unpopular point to make, cases of mass hysteria almost always involved women, stating, "Some may call me sexist, but in the over 800 cases I have gathered since 1566, 99% of the cases are majority female. Why? This is open to debate, but social factors may play a role, such as the way women are socialized, but it is beyond dispute that most victims are female." While the validity of these theories, all of them, are open to dispute, it is worth pointing out a few elements that mark the Miami Aerospace Academy incident as unique. The first being that, as indicated earlier, the student body consisted mostly of boys, a fact which seems to fly in the face of Robert Bartholomew and many others' research. Secondly, there is the evidence that was procured by George Navarini and his young cohorts of ritualized poultry and blackened coins used to ward off evil. Could it be that some members of the faculty were practicing magic not to release an evil onto the school, but to suppress it in a failed attempt to protect the students? Because the blackened pennies are to get rid of the evil eye. So maybe these Santeria practitioners were not trying to create shit, but they knew that something nefarious was going on, and they were trying to suppress shit.
So it's like a wizard. It's like a wizard battle.
I hope
Maybe.
so.
Well, this
cool.
goes back to Peyton's theory of Castro doing
with his
the original spell.
the Ouija dolls.
Somebody
Yeah.
found out about it,
alright.
and they were trying to counter it.
Oh, a war of communist Cuban wizards
Yes.
who aren't supposed to believe in anything besides communism, but that's beyond the point.
Right.
And fucking the good Santeria, sorcerers.
Okay.
God damn it. I cannot say that word.
Sorcerers?
Sorcerer. I know it's
You mean
sorcerer.
that makes
a
people make great
sorcerer.
sauces?
No. A wizard of sauces.
A
Bechamel,
wizard
sorcerer.
Alfredo. I say sorcerer all the time. I don't know why. Conjuring the tomato, making it pliable.
You know sorcery.
So okay.
I know. All right, so I'm owning it. We're not editing it. We're owning it. I can't say that fucking word. But
Sorcerers aside,
sorcerers v. commie wizards
maybe.
are an option.
Okay.
The only option.
Kind of.
Well,
really.
hold on. We're almost there.
Thirdly, and arguably the most damning, is the testimony by staff member Joseph Wolf, who, along with the children in his charge, witnessed a demonic display by a pupil who ought to have been killed in a horrific fall, the one out of the second-story window onto the bus, but instead transformed into something not quite human before lurching away. There are also the frightening events at the girls' house which transpired hours later to take into consideration. These events were not merely psychological, but actually occurred within consensus reality, affecting doors, electronics, and even a combustion engine. So,
Okay.
unlike everything else which you could say, and we can discuss like whether it is demons of the mind, demons of reality in your mind, whatever the fuck it is, these things, if testimony is to be believed, happened.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
Everything else is just terror and mayhem.
Evidence.
Right. Of a sort. Psychologists are convinced that social circumstances drove the students into a state of communal mass insanity, resulting in a so-called supernatural riot. While others, including local clergy, many residents of Little Havana, some journalists, the parents of the kids involved, and most significantly, the children themselves, insist that more nefarious forces were to blame. Those who were there on October 25th, 1979, know that unholy beings were responsible for the sudden rash of violence that struck their school. Despite the disparity in their belief as to the origins of this and other disturbing incidents, like the Ouija riot, both the academic and spiritual sides of this dispute agree on one disturbing fact, which is that in this global state of high technology, virulent social media, heightened belief in the paranormal, and mass religious disenfranchisement, events such as these could not only become more frequent, they might also reach epidemic proportions, spreading not only from student to student within a geographic locality, but across the phantom waves of the internet, and yes, that's what I understand them to be, to potentially infect people separated by thousands of miles.
Blame social media.
The pop culture homogenization that has been evolving since the latter part of the 20th century, and which has been exacerbated a thousandfold by modern technology, has been a great boon for cross-cultural understanding and a grander realization that, despite our many differences, human beings are essentially unified by passions, hopes, and dreams. But like any other positive steps, there is a potentially negative underbelly, and one of the most prescient is the possible psychological pandemic that might be inflicted by this cross-connectivity. In the days that followed the horrific event, getting back to 1979, rumors spread like wildfire regarding the school's new diabolical inhabitants, and superstitious parents began removing their children in droves. Manny Ruiz was one of the students taken out of the academy after the sacrilegious scandal. He said, "It was because there was a sense of something horrible going on at the school. Whether that horror was a repressive regime or malignant entities that lurk in the fringes of our perception is, of course, open for debate."
Ouija Riot 79, the Miami Aerospace Academy incident. Is it going to happen again?
Is it going to happen on a grand scale?
Will it spread by Twitter or YouTube, much like the Momo?
Stop.
Will it happen again?
Oh, that weird face
Stop.
thing?
Okay, okay.
Well, dude, you know
All
it's
right,
not
guys.
real. Like the
I-
dude that came forward, he built a shitty puppet.
All right, I know.
Yeah, that's the deal.
It's just
But-
a shitty puppet.
To that.
But what's Chris doing with one right behind
Oh,
you?
yeah.
I am the
See?
worst, best uncle ever. I'm sorry, baby. He's
You
not behind
almost
you.
made things get spilled again.
Wow, I know. There's been a lot of spilling tonight.
I actually, at one point, had to address Momo with my son
Of
because
course.
it was going through the school.
Yeah,
So
he had to address it with me, Uncle Rob, because I was
did.
scared.
And did I not make you feel better?
you're a
No,
co-
you
you're
scared
a
me more.
college
No, I
student.
didn't. That
Okay,
is a lie.
at first, you did the whole, oh, what's that behind you? And then you're like, haha, just kidding. Look, it's fake.
Wow.
But-
Wow. You were painting an ugly. I have always been supportive of your mental health, and I've tried to make you feel good before I terrified you only to make you feel good again.
So are
Yeah.
we dealing with possible some super sweet fucking occult demon school like awesome Harry Potter, or are we dealing with just mass hysteria because these kids were fucking so oppressed by this militaristic regime of the Aerospace Institute?
Well, it depends on what side you want to take it from.
Okay.
It really is clear cut. The scholarly side says unequivocally, even though they can't really understand all of the mechanics of mass hysteria, that if something, and I believe that there is a real scientific basis for this, things can spread. I mean, you guys remember the 2012 incident in Leroy where a bunch of like the most popular cheerleaders all started getting like tics and swinging arms and vocal outbursts.
yeah, 100%.
And they thought like, oh, it was a chemical spill from a train crash, and other people said, oh, it's the HPV vaccination, which was brand new. back then.
I remember that.
And it ended up being, at least according to what the New York Department of Health assessed, one kid who actually had Tourette's, unfortunately, influencing another, and then that was exacerbated by the normal stresses of being a popular high school student and all the other social pressures. And it was indicated too that when they saw reports on TV, because the media went nuts for it,
Yeah.
or heard people in school saying, oh, she's faking, but she's probably real, or whatever else, because of course it was, again, mostly female, not making an indictment, just stating a fact. that their symptoms got worse. So is there a scientific rationale behind some of this?
Yeah, no, there is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because nobody even for a second thought demons. It wasn't like chemical spill, vaccination,
Right.
the devil.
Beelzebub.
So yes, but here, the question I would propose is, why can't it be a little bit of both? Why do we say, no, it has to be all science or all fucking mysticism? There could be some malinfluential entities that aren't necessarily, maybe not Judeo-Christian in nature, but who knows where they come from. Not going necessarily ultra-terrestrial, but like in Malaysia, they think that they might be these nature deities, and in other places, ghosts, whatever. And they trigger things, and then that trigger becomes a mass psychogenic illness. So, I mean, I'm thinking that there's a possibility both can be there. But the one thing that really separates this, the two things, or the three, as I mentioned before, is one, this was primarily a male incident. Men were losing their shit. And two, the other most important thing to me is good old Yosef, who was like, yeah, no, I mean, fucking head spun around, eyes went red, strength of 10.
Yeah.
My car wouldn't start.
He saw a demon.
I mean, well, he saw what he assumed was a demon. It certainly wasn't fucking right.
No.
I mean, it was some fucking rank
Yeah,
shit.
that's the weirdest thing, really, is that one section. Like the mass hysteria thing, fine, but like seeing like the Exorcist kid jump out a window, land a bus.
Yeah, blood
be all
eyes.
fucked
And presumably the other
Pissed.
kids with him also witnessed this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a weird one.
But you
All right.
have to concede this. I mean, I'm going to say that. I'm going to throw the skeptic hat in the ring a little bit. These other kids didn't come forward. The truly paranormally
Right.
things,
Right.
not just the kids that were suffering, screaming, ones that seemed to be possessed and were biting other students, and all sorts of violence was going on, and not just the ones that were so terrified they were bursting through solid glass windows, but the only one to actually report seeing truly exorcist level bullshit, which was presumably seen by the kids that were with him and the two teenagers that were with him in the house later that night, when they should have heard the slamming doors and whatnot. The only one to report it was Wolf.
Right.
So, like I say, being in full deference to skepticism, when only one dude officially comes forward, which is not to say others won't eventually, you have to at least marginalize the impact of that testimony. Simply because if 17 kids had come forward and said, yeah, fucking Randy, eyes went red, head spun.
Fucking Randy.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. I mean, he's a nice
Randy.
kid. He's chess club. And fuck, Randy.
Classic Randy.
And, was Randy ever
180
okay?
heads been Randy.
Yeah. A 367. Math.
All right, so Christopher, we'll start with you. Where do you stand with this?
That's what I got.
Okay.
I have a groan.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Banshee-like groan.
A banshee-like sigh of
So,
both frustration
I don't know, I mean,
and
no,
No, that
non-commitment.
is that is a sign of his, that is the
Suppression,
sound of his eyes rolling.
craziness. No, well, because no.
So,
Because no.
Are you thinking this is more of a psychological thing or more of a demonic thing?
Yeah, no, well, it seems to lean more psychological. It's happened before. There wasn't there a thing not recently. Maybe it was recently in Japan. We were just talking about it
There's
over this break. Of these,
piles of stuff. I mean, literally for decades.
but it's not,
Malaysian
maybe it's not
schools.
that like entire schools, but there's like groups at least, like we were just talking about, that have
yeah.
these things happen and it's not like they think it's cool. Like it's literally a subconscious thing that happens. I mean, it happens.
No,
Okay, so maybe
So
a
it's
devil
not
of
like-
the mind.
most scientists
Okay,
agree.
well, you're inserting things that don't
Though I
necessarily.
like Devil
Well,
of
I
the
do.
Mind would be a good book title for it.
Fucking devil.
There are some researchers, I wish I could quote directly, because I did scads of fucking reading for this, who suggest that even though it is a disorder or a mental illness or whatever it would be specified as, the kids genuinely believe that demons are involved. Like, it's not about them faking it. From whatever their perspective is, this is happening.
Sure.
My question would be this. Science has no room for fucking demons or imps or fucking
Well,
water deities.
unless they find them. Then there is.
Yes, of course. But science as it stands right now, with their ability to observe the world being as extensive and yet as limited as it currently is by the technologies we have and the spectrums of light we can look in and all sorts of other things, like like Thor in the Marvel movie saying like, yeah, you call it magic, it's just science on a different world. That's the way I tend to think of it. Maybe someday we'll see like, oh yeah, once upon a time we couldn't see bacteria or we couldn't see viruses or we couldn't see fucking tardigrades or whatever. Now we can see them and they're there.
Well, yeah, that's
and
right.
so, as science, evolves, maybe someday we will be like, oh, there's these weird semi-humanoid sprite things that live in the woods and don't really fuck with you and you don't fuck with them and that's fine. If and when that day happens, maybe they'll acknowledge it. But right now, science is like, fuck that. We got no room. Demons are bullshit. You're stupid. You're ignorant.
It's not that there's no room. It's just that what they know does not lead them anywhere near that.
You're right. But you will concede that
hypothesis.
They reject it with a great deal of self-assurance. They don't reject it with the thought, most of them, I should say, not all scientists. Some are like, hey, you never know what we'll find out in the future. But some are like, oh, it should be a poppycock. And they just are like, fuck that. Like, they don't think there's ever a chance that some of these things might come to be revealed.
I think that's really only a handful that actually do that. And it's the popular ones that you will see on TV. If you just go to any one and say, and put it out normally, they're not going to do that. They won't like huff puff.
I will agree with that.
You know what I mean?
But
Richard Dawkins will.
Yes, of course. but to my point more specifically, mainstream science as of now is not going to broach these things. So for them, it has to be an entirely psychophysiological phenomenon. Maybe psychosocial physiological phenomenon. And that's all they're going to have room for. But who's to say that there couldn't be a paranormal or preternatural element that helps trigger this, induce it, or is maybe overall responsible? Because it really seems like these kids are caught in their own heads. And I know we're going to do the Peru one soon, and we're going to do the Malaysian one as well. And some of these people are being chased by a man in black, like I said earlier, and others are being chased by vampiric entities of local legend. Now, maybe it's just because that's what they grew up believing, and they're transposing it into their malignant fantasies that are turning into actual disorders, or maybe it's because there is some truth to it, and that's sending them into that. For instance, I mean, we did on the Patreon the I don't remember what it was called, but that Asian nightmare death epidemic that inspired Nightmare on Elm Street, where all these people around the Pacific Rim were basically having nightmares that they were being chased by a monster, and then literally woke up dead soon after.
Right.
Now, maybe they just willed themselves to death, or maybe there was something foundationally not supposed to be a part of our world that triggered their bodies into going into a state of cardiac arrest. I'm just saying I'm open to the possibility that both are infusing into this phenomenon, that it's not all science and it's not all, supernatural, that there might be a blurring of the lines.
The possibilities are. Peyton, what do you think?
Friendship.
God, it's hard to pick one. I mean, obviously,
you don't have to pick one.
The guy who ran the school, cannot remember his name, had beef with Fidel. Could
Marina.
be that. Marina.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean,
see, moan.
I know. I mean, it could have.
Is Chris your spirit animal?
I know he is.
You know, I kind of am.
It's true.
Could have an underlying, like the pressure.
Okay.
And maybe they think there's demons, but it is coming from a psychological break point. Okay. But it doesn't change the fact that they think there's demons, and they, see it come around. But the Ouija board being seen, the hard evidence of a Ouija board, that's...
It's something, but that also could just be the triggering point for the psychosis.
But...
Dude, the shit is falling apart. He goes in the room and there's a bunch of kids around a Ouija board. It's not a coincidence.
All right, but...
No, it's not. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Pay. Please remember what you're going to say.
Wait, what?
It's not a coincidence, but it could be something that triggers a very real fear that causes a psychological collapse or whatever. I don't know all the proper terms. That's all I'm saying.
I think you guys are forgetting about in the beginning when Uncle Rob mentioned the dead guy in the airplane out front.
Oh, yeah.
Because why? I mean,
the Ace of Spades
no,
goes.
Yeah.
Ace of Spades. I stand by it.
No one's mentioned
Motorhead
that.
and Iron Maiden together again. You're right, Pay. What if this pissed off the bones of the pissed off dead hero. Never got interred.
I mean,
but
he's
just
in
left
the front
plane.
of the school.
They sell it to fucking Marina, and he's like, yeah, just throw it on the building. The bones won't hurt anything.
Yeah.
Lo and behold.
they recover the plane, but don't remove the bones.
Yeah,
Happens
I,
all
it's
the time.
The shitty poltergeist.
Shittiest
Yeah,
I
poltergeist.
think they pissed off the
bones from the
skeleton.
plane.
You put the plane on the building, but you didn't remove the bones, did ya?
You didn't remove the bones. Curly shuffle out the
You
window.
nailed it.
Oh, God damn it. All right. Peyton, anything else?
Cats.
Yeah.
Cats. Yeah.
Let's not forget the meowing nuns.
Just cats.
They could have been there.
All
Do you
right.
think cats were responsible? Stray cats? Feline schizophrenia? Should we bring that up?
I mean, they actually. What
It's
is
real.
that? What is that disease you can get from cats when they scratch you?
Cat scratch fever?
yeah.
Well, no, there's
Ted
that. but-
Nugent told us.
He did.
Bruh, come on.
No, there's that, but then there's some other weird disease that you can get from it. And
I don't know.
makes
Can't scratch
you act all
powers?
Fucking weird.
Oh my God! If they're irradiated,
What did you say?
do you become
Can't touch
Pumama
what?
Man?
Gets a cat scratch powers.
Cat
I'm just
scratch.
thinking
Not
about
fever,
the
you
nuns.
get powers
I
instead of
can't
a
think
fever.
of.
Trying to
I
make
forget the name of it.
connections.
It's some weird fucking parasite that gets in your.
Yeah, it's
fucking
the only like.
shit.
It seems like this was like literally a potpourri of paranormal fucking excess. You got Bloody Mary. You got fucking the devil. You
Yeah, it
got
seems a little.
Santeria over here.
Yeah.
Witchcraft in that room.
dead pilots in the fucking roof. You got all sorts of shit. Ouija boards. And
Yeah,
and
it's
the,
everything.
The one thing you don't get is a black cat wandering through, but at this point, you don't
There
need
could
it.
have been.
Was
Doesn't
there
matter, yeah.
ever like
There's a whole school.
follow up? Like, did people just go back to school the next day?
No.
It,
No.
it all shut down. Yeah, that was it.
The
No,
whole
no,
school?
it didn't shut down. No.
I didn't think it did.
Lots of parents took their kids out.
Yeah.
And this guy was running for some local political office, and he ended up losing. And then all sorts of scandals and stuff rocked him, and the discipline got worse, and the school fell to shit. And eventually, it did close down. This
All right,
didn't
well,
close the
good.
school, but he lost scads of students due
But
to
did
it.
they ever, like, like when the students returned, be like, hey, still demons in there?
Yeah, there was never a repeat of the Ouija Riot of '79.
Is C-104 a goat fucking dismantling room?
Who's
Yeah.
got
still?
the pagan legs?
Yeah, so
Which, by the way, is a phrase that is now
Pagan
permanently
legs.
in my fuck-sucking lexicon.
Pagan legs.
all right, so
Pagan legs.
I'm gonna take the two theories here, and I'm gonna say that
Furry
because
pagan
you
legs.
have this concentration of oppressed youth,
Yeah.
all this fucking emotional and physical and this whole physiology of fucking emotions and anger and hate and love and distress all come together
and love.
into some weird fucking manifestation of demonic forces. Because, like poltergeists, like we know,
Yeah.
who causes poltergeists? Not being rude, but who
Unmoved
causes them?
the dead?
No, I thought it was like teenage girls.
Oh, you mean real life? I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the movie.
No.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. Most of the poltergeist phenomenon surrounds pubescent and post-pubescent
Because
women.
their fucking
Sometimes
power
men.
is fucking projected and it's so fucking righteous
Well,
and
we're
awesome.
powerful.
We
so-
all know that
I'm
it
not
means
saying that you're not. I'm
it's
all on
German
board.
for noisy ghost, but
Yeah.
some people think it is a manifestation of from beyond. Other people are equally convinced, in fact, probably more, that it is a psychic projection from girls that are going through this hormonal
Yeah.
turmoil. And then they manifest this rage so strongly that they are able to become basically telekinetic and move shit and rock shit.
So
and
think
it's
about it,
all
dude.
fucked up.
All this youth, all this oppression, all this pent up anger, all these fucking emotions and hormones, fucking raging, and all of a sudden, a fucking psychologically, a physical manifestation of a demon, fucking comes out, and the next thing you know, Fucksville.
You
People
know,
are jumping out of fucking windows.
it's funny. I know
So
you're
it brings
just-
them. It kind of brings it all together.
You're just you're winging it, but you're not entirely wrong because any
Wow.
no, listen, a chemical
I'm not winging it. I thought about this
experiment-
fucking theory.
Oh, I really love it, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm trying to give you props.
Fucking
Like
better.
a chemical experiment may be able to transmute something or alchemical, but you can do things through science. Why not through the force of sheer will and rage, hormones and stress and all sorts of things that might trigger, mass hallucinations and mass hysteria, but also why can't they potentially manifest changes in reality or indeed open portals?
If you
Or if there's a little tiny portal already there,
Yeah.
and all this anger and frustration and confusion and inner turmoil just tears that rift further. I think you might have something legitimately worth looking into.
if you push your will onto the universe strong enough, the
Okay,
universe
so
will.
here comes the magic.
No, the universe will fucking react. I'm just
No,
saying.
listen, and
I didn't say here comes the magic. I just said if you assert your will,
Johnny
onto the
Sigil
universe,
had to show up eventually. So I'm so glad.
This actually might be just one of those weird instances where you just have this fucking concentrated energy and this oppression, and this has to go out somewhere. And these kids are freaking. They're marching around with buzz cuts and helmets, being all fucked up.
In the
There's
hot
no girls
South Florida
anywhere.
sun.
Yeah.
No girls.
No, there are
anywhere.
girls.
Yeah, 3.
Well, a third of the school's
Exactly.
population.
Yeah,
But
every
they are
10 boys
separated
is a
for the
chick.
most part.
Exactly. She's worshipped as a god.
There is no doubt that there is sexual frustration amongst the young men.
At
If
a
that's what you're trying to
high,
say,
high level.
no doubt about that.
High level.
But then there is amongst co-ed young men. So
There you
if
go.
you're separated a little, it's going to be exacerbated. Yes.
That is my theory.
Well-
Closing
So
thought.
your theory is genuine psychological strife triggered a genuine demonic manifestation.
Yes.
Pubic wraiths.
I mean, psychological.
Wraiths. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah. A wraith. The pubic wraiths.
This podcast is full of punk rock band names.
Yeah. Pubic wraiths. There you go. All right.
Psychological abuse, it can, manifest into a lot.
Yeah.
Like, a lot.
If you
But,
could- oh, go ahead.
and also, if you think about, the group, when people study groups,
Yep.
you see one person run, people start running. Kids
That's
start freaking out. What are you going to do? You see kids jumping out windows, your classmates are
Oh no! You assume
biting each
that
other.
their terror is in some of those kids
Yeah,
were not
100%,
affected.
right.
They just
Yeah.
thought if they're running in this abject terror,
That-
something
you
all
must do this.
fucked up
Yeah.
must be there.
Yeah.
I'm getting away. She's
Yeah.
absolutely right. You know what? I read a quote again. Damn it! I won't be able to quote it, but I'll say it. I think I'll paraphrase it authentically enough that someone can find out if they want to. And this psychologist or expert said, "We like to think of ourselves, the human race, as sexy predators." But really, we're just herd animals.
Yeah, 100% we are.
And that's 100% true.
Yeah.
We are
I wish I
sheeple,
could cite,
yeah.
but I can't. And that's the fact. Like we all think, oh, we're awesome, we're free-willed, we're this, and to a degree, maybe not. But the illusion of it fuels a lot of our activities.
Yeah.
But in reality, you're right, Pay it completely. Like I say,
Yeah.
people run, people run. People laugh, you laugh. If you're the one person that didn't get the joke, I remember being a kid going, ha, ha, penis. I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, you don't want to be left out.
You don't want to be
Yeah.
left out,
All right.
But there was some demonic shit going on in that school.
It
no
seems
doubt.
like there was some
Yeah.
dark shit. And I'm going to stand by the idea that I proposed earlier that I like to think the faculty was using the Santeria to fucking protect the kids
I can
from
see
either
it.
Fidel's minions or something that was intrinsically diabolical about the place.
Well, it seems
Or-
like they were attempting to do whether it was effective. Sure,
Right, yeah,
that's
clearly
for
it
debate.
wasn't. I mean, if they were fighting demons and this happened, they were clearly not effective.
Or maybe protecting them from themselves.
Oh, like fuck the students and protect the staff?
No, they're trying to protect the students from themselves because they're under this fucking crazy oppressive regime.
So wait, you're saying
and
like
it's a
they
pressure
had,
cooker.
the faculty had split personalities where on one hand they're raising evil, but that one part of them that wanted to be like the noble Robin Williams from Dead Poet Society is like, no, kill the chicken, save the kids. And the rest of them's like, kill the kids. And they're like, no, there's the black and penny. Protect the kids.
Kill the
That
chicken.
That seems like unnecessarily complex.
Yeah,
It could be. Or
I'm not saying it's not.
they realized it was an emotional and spiritual pressure cooker, and they realized these kids are going to let the fuck loose and shit's going to go fucking south. So they employed their fucking practices of Santeria to try to calm the whole situation down.
Effective.
Exactly.
There's a lot of high pressure situations that don't end like this, and
That's
I'm just-
true.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying.
that's true.
I mean, we've all been through hell in high school. That's just the nature of
High
fucking
school
or middle
is
school.
hell.
Middle
Oh,
school.
fuck middle school, dude.
Middle school is like the darker depths in some
sucked.
ways.
Yeah,
High
bad.
school is like the ascension to like lighter versions of hell, but they both equally blow in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's all sorts of pitfalls, fucking psychological and physical. So you're right. It doesn't often catalyze into a mass event. And what makes it different from, like, say, the meowing nuns or the dancing plague or more recently the Tourette symptoms cheerleaders of Leroy, New York in 2012, what makes it different is they reported, students in this case, that being chased by demons, being infested by diabolical agents. And that, yes, that might reflect the culture and the belief systems with which they were raised, but that also has to be looked at objectively where you're just saying, other people that suffer from mass hysteria don't say that. Why are you saying it? And I think to dismiss it all as cultural bias is a little heavy-handed and quick. It should be looked at deeper to assess if maybe something else is going on.
All right, there you have it. Ouija Riot 79. Thank you all so very much for joining us for the Cryptonaut podcast. Peyton, thank you so very much for coming
You are
back.
the best.
Thanks for having me.
As our
Oh my God,
special
I
guest.
love it when you come on.
Fan
I love hanging
favorite,
out with you.
Special guest, Peyton, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
You know we haven't done yet?
High
high
five.
five.
What the heck?
Podcast
No, I'm
high
pretty
five?
sure there was
Let's
like
do it.
at least
No.
one or
That is the-
two.
that was the worst high
All right,
five.
now listen.
Well, you know
The
what?
audience actually didn't see that it took us 6 times to connect.
Yeah,
So
it's
the fact
terrible.
that you outed us, that's
so
just
that's
shitbag.
just rude.
Wow,
You're
hurtful.
a bully. You're the reason high schools suffer from
Yes.
mass hysteria.
Wow.
From your bullying. You cause demons.
You know what it
Mark?
is? It's his
Mark-
new.
Mark
It's his new,
Costas.
it's his new Stamos
It
hair.
is.
He's,
Yeah, it's
he's
the
getting
hair.
too big for his
Yeah.
britches.
Look, I'm John Park. And you know what I
Oh.
want?
Hellerspace.com. Check it out. Get your t-shirts, get your hoodies, get your stickers, and your magnets, and your pins, and your totes. Patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. $1 will get you a shout out. $5 will get you a shout out and some bonus audio. Be sure to check that out.
Big bonus audio.
The socials, the Instas, the Twitters, and the Facebooks. Thank you all so very much who are participating in that. Keep those DMs coming. The Facebook fan group. Shout outs to Robert Thompson for running that for us. Thank you so very much there,
Thank
good
you.
sir.
Dope.
Facebook group is dope. It is the only reason I am still on the hellscape of fucking Facebook because that place is a nightmare. But our Facebook group is
Me too.
fucking dope.
It is dope as shit.
So check it
and
out.
thank you, everyone interested in the cult. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, Rob's cult scenario, we talked about it briefly. It happened. We mentioned it, I don't know,
It happened.
really briefly in an episode, and all of a sudden it's a thing, which is cool. I'm glad that we got a movement going on. Rob, I'm going to have to be his go-between for this.
That's
so
true.
Let's get some protocols in play because I'm busy. And I
Not
got
too
a lot of shit
many.
going on. Yeah,
I
got a
mean,
lot
I
of
want to
things
keep
do.
it loose.
No, not a lot of protocols, but let's figure out a way for you to communicate with the folks. I had to send a fucking screen. I had to do a screenshot of our text messages. I'm like, hey, you got a cult going on. Get in the Facebook group. Like 2 days later, nothing. So I'm like, hey,
I
Rob,
lost
by the way.
my tablet for a few days.
You also lost your phone.
That's true.
Yeah.
I lose
Oh
things.
my God.
Yeah.
I don't really stay in communication well, but I thank you everyone for being interested. You guys are sucking awesome.
Rob's cult is a thing, and I just saw some art that was posted in our Facebook group, and I believe it was some Rob cult art. So we're gonna check that out in a little bit here. Thank y'all so very much for joining us. We appreciate the support. Y'all are the best, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Meow.
Me fucking yow.
Everyone start meowing.
I will
Meow.
beat you so much.
Meow,
It has to be a
meow.
All right,
choir.
that's fair. You're right.
Meow.
You know what?
Meow.
Meow.
The Gregorian cats.
Yeah, really.
Well, they started doing a choir of meows. That's what I pictured. Like
Meow, 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 meow,
I gave up. I don't know. Why was it Carol of the Bells?
What is
though?
wrong with us?
Oh,
Oh,
Damn it.
It's
keep it
Easter.
real, French nuns. Don't fucking
we love you.
step to the man next time.
I feel like we just
Meow
made a
until you're
ghost.
done.
Yeah,
oh my God, I think we did.
I think we
just
made a
conjured
ghost.
Something.
Are we
Yeah,
fucking?
what just
Was this
happened?
4-person mass hysteria?
Yeah. No, it really is.
No,
It
for about
is.
10 seconds, like it was kind of
You
really
better
in key, and I got
include that.
scared.
It was
I'm
really
like,
good.
That better be
When I'm in
included.
key
Yeah.
with anything, Chris gets scared.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you were in key.
You were.
Everybody kind of
it's
was
an
for
accident.
a second.
An accident.
I feel
can
like it
never do
was.
an
He was possessed.
He was.
Yeah. Well,
by
oh my
the-
God, that wasn't me.
Oh my
The
God, that
demon-
wasn't
Oh
him.
my God, you're
by
the ghost.
the demon of the mind because the pressure.
The pressure.
Yeah, see,
Yes.
there it is.
Yeah, the pressure you put me under.
I do.
Yeah.
Wow. but
Okay,
No, not really.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna dive out that window
All right,
in
and
3,
2,
1.
Bye.
Yeah, the marching and the haircut.
No, if you go to school, they're like, put your helmet on. I'm like, fuck you.
Wait, so it's like a
It is
Air
a,
Academy
it's a
for
military.
children?
It is
It is
a
Aerospace.
private military academy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, while I completely agree with you, fuck that noise.
Yeah, no,
Fuck
they
it totally.
can make
Yeah,
those
but if
rules.
your parents are paying for it,
Yeah.
you're wearing
Your
a
parents
helmet
are paying
and
for
getting
it.
your haircut.
You're staying there. They want you to
Don't touch my hair.
That's why I'm
be
in,
under that rigorous system.
that's why I'm in
Yeah.
public
I know.
school.
Look at you. Look at your hair. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to draw you all new now.
With my new hair,
Yeah.
my new John Stamos hair.
It's more like
I wouldn't say that.
it's more like John Parr.
It's in a weird phase, all right?
No, just say St. Elmo's Fire. Sing St. Elmo's Fire.
Me a man of motion.
Oh my God.
I can't do it.
I felt Demi Moore in a curtain-filled room, billowing, diaphanous curtains all around. All right.
Dude, my knee is
At
sprained.
this
I more
point,
likely have
you're just
torn something.
being a dick.
No, I'm not. But
I'm not saying Advil's going to cure everything. It might help a little bit, and in 2 hours you might feel a little better.
Okay, let's just go back.
We take fucking 4 Advil.
I'm fine. Okay. So
6
we're-
Advil.
Shit, no,
Not 6.
I know. I'm just joking.
12?
11.
Where do we actually leave off, though?
I don't know. I can't remember anything. I
Bizarre.
don't even know how to read.
Unless.
One of the
Or
most
wait.
bizarre
No, you said something and then you were like, until.
The
unthinkable
unthinkable
Okay,
happened.
yeah.
You want me to do unthinkable again? Then we can all participate.
No, I'm good. But where
Okay.
is
The
it?
audience is going to say Mark usually says something.
And it's,
I'm just
I'm
fucking
gonna,
We'll
with
say
it.
he wouldn't take his Advil, so.
You're going to get
Really
comments.
fucking. Whatever. I'm done helping you to help yourself.
no, but where?
To help me.
What
To
was-
help
what
you.
was
To
the
help
last
yourself.
The unthinkable.
Unthinkable happened. Thursday, October 25th.
Probably because your knee's
I know
getting in
where
the
we
way.
left off.
Okay.
Your knee is fucking making you
fucking
crazy.
with
You've
his
got
eyesight.
knee
Yeah.
madness.
All right.
You got knee
and,
eye.
Ready, and ready? All right.
Your eyes are knees.
You can't see.
Fucking knee
You-
psychosis.
can't
Your
see
eyes
through a
turn into
knee.
knees.
All right. Ready?
He's got 2 knees hanging off his
Okay,
head.
Thursday. Okay, Thursday. Okay, ready? And
Evaristo practices Santeria. He's got a crystal ball.
Nailed it.
Wow.
if I
Going
had
on
$1
tour.
million,
Well,
I
I'd
fucking hate that song.
call the devil.
Yeah.
If
I'm
I
sorry.
had 1 million students, I'd possess them all.
Oh,
Come on. If we're going to do
nice.
this right, let's do this right. I can't sing it, but I will help with the
My
lyrics.
wife is
I don't know that much
to her
about it.
detriment, a huge Sublime fan.
Listen,
Really?
it's
Yeah,
it's
She
engaging.
Sings, she
It's
sings
not-
that in the Dave Matthews Band, and I kind of want to
She
hang
really is
myself.
lost in the
Oh,
90s.
that's something
so-
else
That
right
is
there.
something else
Okay.
altogether. Dave Matthews is not.
Sorry,
You're not
everybody.
They are
Under-
not counterparts in my mind.
You
You're
know-
not under the table and dreaming.
Oh no!
You're not going to take these chances.
Listen,
Say
my
this
beef with Dave
chances.
Matthews is not to be discussed
I don't know why
at
you
this time.
do. All right.
But I do enjoy Sublime for what it is.
Anyway, yeah, their Bad Religion cover was good. You're welcome.
You're kidding me.
I swear to God.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What was it? What did they cover?
Fuck Armageddon, This Is Hell.
That's not a hard one to do, though.
It was good.
Well, all right, props.
All right.
I mean, whatever.
Can we stop talking about Sublime and get back to the story?
You were the fucker that continued that part of the conversation.
Peyton was singing. I wanted to.
Oh, I thought you
contribute.
meant Dave Matthews covered Bad Religion.
No,
Jeez Louise. That just blew my fucking
Oh my
tits
god!
off.
Oh yeah!
I'm like, what?
Oh
How?
my God.
You said it's good. And I'm like, you said
Jesus.
it's good. And I'm like, no. And then
was
other part of me's like,
Sublime.
well, you said it. Just trust him.
Oh Christ!
All right, Sublime, I can see doing
Jesus
it.
Christ.
Christ Almighty.
I cannot. I can't.
Jesus Christos, my friends.
All right, continue. Everything hurts. Just everything.
This is
hurts.
bad.
This is really bad. This is real bad.
This is
The
bad.
tether
This
of
is
our
real
friendship
bad.
is stretched
No,
to
I'm
the
about
max.
to start gyrating.
This is all right. Calm down.
Oh, you're gonna get a Bernie email.
yeah.
It's like not good. Not good, guys. Not good.
good. All right, Robert and